Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the EmpowerMAN podcast. It's your boy, Mikey G, coming to you live from the free state of Florida. I am on my fourth cup of coffee. And today I am looking at the man right now who, had he been the vice presidential pick for the Republican Party, this election would have been over yesterday. My boy and yours, everyone's number one pick for candidacy, Greg A. Tedora, numero uno, sir. How the heck are you?
I am good, my man. How are you? Boy, that would be interesting, huh? Greggy T is VP. Savor the everyday.
That's right. Brought to you by the best restaurant in Washington, D.C., Ted's Bulletin. All my friends in Washington, D.C., check it out. They just opened a new restaurant in NOMA, which stands for North of Massachusetts. It is quite the experience. The food's amazing, the decor, and given the times we're living in, you have an upscale experience at an affordable price point. And the food is just top-notch, service is great. So check it out.
Sir.
That's my cheap plug for the day.
I like it. I'm going to plug right now, like we always do. I want to give thanks to all the military personnel out there, their families making the ultimate sacrifice. Stay safe out there. And if you're overseas, watch your back and come home. And you are greatly appreciated every single day.
And I want to give a shout out to our policemen and women, our firefighters, our first responders, our EMTs. Thank you for selflessly putting your lives in harm's way to protect people like me and Greg and everyone else, and keeping our local cities and municipalities safe and sound. And Greggy T, pretty uneventful weekend, huh? Not much happened over the weekend.
Not much, man. Not
pretty
much.
Quiet in the news circuit.
Pretty quiet here in the Northeast, and pretty much around the country. Nothing new here.
No, it's pretty crazy, and I think we're gonna talk about what everyone else has been talking about. Which was we were too young for when Ronald Reagan got shot, but we'll know where we were when President Trump got shot. And to think, had this guy kept his head exactly in that same spot, it would have looked, I think it would have been worse than when Kennedy got assassinated. And you can go back and watch the Zapruder film, but you can see, obviously, there were two shooters in the Kennedy assassination. I mean, you have to be a complete moron at this point to realize that there weren't two. But history has taught us that there was only one shooter that acted alone. But this could have been pretty bad. I mean, it could have been pretty bad, I think.
Could have been bad. It is bad. Shouldn't have happened. There's so much information, disinformation, opinions, Monday morning quarterbacks, people that don't know the security space, Secret Service space, the local police space. I mean, a lot of people drop the ball, in my opinion. Nobody should be that close on a roof. But, everyone thinks they know what they're talking about. So I don't know enough about the details, but all I know is what I saw, and it shouldn't have happened. Shouldn't have happened.
No. I think there's something to be said about rhetoric.
Thank God Rocky Dennis was a bad shot. Let's say that.
I mean, everyone you talk to, right, said that was a layup for any good marksman. Trump
Absolutely
should have been.
Yeah.
We could have been having a different tune, and this could have been different. But I mean, look, everyone's going to have their theory on this, so our theories really aren't applicable. But I'll say what is applicable is the danger of rhetoric.
Yeah.
You call someone Hitler, you call someone an existential threat to democracy. Call him a dictator. You call him all these rotten things over time. There's only so much people can take of that before someone who's just a little unhinged just doesn't. It only takes one to take that to heart. And especially with our current president essentially saying put Trump in the bullseye. Now, it doesn't take a genius to figure out. I mean, it took me 35 years to graduate college. What a bullseye implies, right? It could be a dart, it could be a bow and arrow, it could be a gun. But when you see something in a bullseye, you're trying to hit a target, right? So there's some type of external force
Mm-hmm.
that's being applied to something to hit a target, whether it's a baseball, whether it's a knife. Greg, am I that crazy, or am I close? Am I in the ballpark?
No, you're not crazy. I don't know. I didn't hear the statement. I don't know the full context of it. I'm not defending him, but it could be taken out of context because you're running a race, a campaign against somebody. You want to put them in your crosshairs. We say it all the time for certain things. It doesn't literally mean in your crosshairs. Your goal is to win the election or win the campaign. So that's your target. It could have been meant that way. It could be taken another way. I see it. I don't know enough about the full statement. I didn't hear it. I don't really listen to what that guy says, so I don't know. But yes, you're not crazy for thinking that.
But even taking that now in the contextual way and putting it into everyday life,
Mm-hmm.
right? For guys out there that use rhetoric the wrong way. They say, hey, like
Mm-hmm.
I am, the big buzzword that gets thrown around is narcissism. Everyone knows what a narcissist is. Everyone
Nowadays, it's one of
is.
those keywords on Instagram.
It's like that, or it's like, let's just say, if we're talking, he's unfit to be a parent, or she's unfit to be a parent, or
Mm-hmm.
she's crazy, or he's this, or she's that.
Intimidating, narcissist, all those words.
But there's a danger in using rhetoric
Well,
without.
most people that say these words don't really truly know a definition or the definition of the word, but no one checks them, so they're just free to throw these words out, and then it's backed up on social media and stuff. So yeah, it's dangerous to use words you don't know what it means, and it's also, you should speak to somebody that's been through something using that word, and they'll be very upset because they actually went through it and you're using it as like a punchline.
Right.
So it's very disrespectful to someone that's actually been through something or suffered at the hands of somebody that did do something like that.
Yeah. And you figure if you falsely accuse somebody
Mm-hmm.
or continue to use rhetoric, I mean, at some point, people can snap. I mean, people are human.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's only so much you can take of that. Like, if I call you a bigot or a racist, and I keep
Mm-hmm.
saying that over and over again, and I'm using outlets to project my
Yeah.
feelings out there,
Mm-hmm.
someone's going to say, this Greg Dora is a racist. I'm going to take him out. Right?
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
hear it enough.
hypothetically,
You
you
hear it enough.
instead of like getting, and I think we're so quick nowadays as a society, and it kind of like, kind of bleeds into about the values. It's like we could agree
Yeah.
to disagree on the issues, but now things have gotten so personal. It's like no one debates on the issues anymore. It's, oh, Greg's a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
Let's debate Greg, and let's, instead of assaulting his character, why not like discuss his policies? And I hope we could bring our friend Corey back on here to kind of
Yeah.
get some more insight
Yeah.
on strategies when it comes to debating. Instead of attacking character, why not you debate the policy differentials between two people? But even just in everyday conversations, if
Yeah.
you don't like what someone says, you're a D word.
Yeah, you're a dick.
You're this. You're
Mm-hmm.
that.
Mm-hmm. People are so quick now to just shut the door on somebody just because you don't agree. It's totally fine. Listen, Corey's my longtime childhood friend. That's my boy. I'm so proud of him for what he's done. Him and I used to hang out all the time when we were younger. I don't agree with his policies. Some of them I do, not all of them. But so what? That doesn't make him, in my mind, a bad person. Doesn't make me a bad person in his mind. I'm sure he doesn't give a shit that I don't agree with everything he says. He knows the character of the man I am, like I know his, and we're cool. We've lost that as a country to respectfully debate. And even if it's a heated debate, shake hands and go get dinner afterwards. It's still okay. Because at the end of the day, we should still be striving to be better people and a better country and better united. But we are not, because we are not united anymore. And the whole fabric, in my opinion, of the population is becoming undone.
Agree.
vastly and quickly undone.
I
And
agree.
it's almost impossible to get it back. It's almost impossible to get it back without tragic events.
Yeah, and we're so quick to shut down someone else's opinion.
Yeah.
It's like my opinion matters and yours
Hmm.
doesn't. And
Yeah.
you know the centuries ago, this was talked about when the Book of Proverbs talks about people that air their own opinions and
Hmm.
kind of shut you out. It's like I could say, "Oh, wow, I was better now than I was better 4 years ago than I am now." Oh, but Trump's a racist. Trump's this. Trump's that. I, I'm not talking about his character. I'm talking about the fact what he did. Now, I've never seen anybody come out and abuse. I never seen any racism on his part. I used to go to his hotel when I lived in Washington D.C., and there were a lot of different. It was a diverse staff. You had everyone working there. Everybody seemed happy to work there. I never saw anyone like say, "Oh, gee, I hate working here." And that was when he had
Hmm.
this hotel in Washington D.C. And I think it's important when we do talk with people that we do have differences with, is how do we catch ourselves from shutting the other person out? Because it's going to get heated. You know, you're going to say something, and then it might trigger a response to them where, "Oh, Greg, you're a dick. Oh,
Hmm.
Greg, you're a jerk. Oh, Greg, you're a narcissist." But
Hmm.
it's like, okay, what does that have to do with what I just said? You're attacking me personally. You're
Yeah, this isn't
insulting me.
personal. Not
This is
personal.
not right. And why is it that we can't? All right, it's a two-part question. Why is it that we can't tolerate people anymore? And why are so people to take a low blow? Why do they have to say and assault your character? Like, why do you think people are like this for? I mean, I don't know. Has it always been like this? I don't know. I can't remember.
I think tolerance is gone or waning, whatever. So the first part is why don't we tolerate? It's not cool anymore to tolerate. It's cool to polarize, and it's cool to draw the line in the sand and stay grounded on your side without an open mind. Usually, when you have two people that have different views, if you sit them down and they have an open dialogue, they'll somewhat be cool with each other. They might not agree, but they can find something where there's common ground. But it's not cool anymore to do that. And we say it all the time, social media definitely doesn't help because it's not cool. It doesn't get likes and views, and that equates to money now, and it just washes away integrity and stand up values. It just erodes everything that's good about us and how we were brought up and taught, and historically it just chipping away at everything until it's just no values, not even shitty values. There's no values, and people are out for a quick buck, and it's just not cool to tolerate because everything on TV is about ratings. If people tolerated things, then there wouldn't be two polar opposite news channels that are always going after each other. Instead of just reporting the facts and the details of the news, they don't want to tolerate, and that's it. So the first part is just not cool to tolerate nowadays because there's no money in it for, I think, the big marketing people and companies. And the low blows, that's what brings the views and the likes and the shock media, I call it, and that shock value and the entertaining. And there comes the money and the views. And oh, has it 5 million views? It's got to be right or true or good. And then young people get most of their news now from like TikTok and all that shit. So they see this happening. That's normal to them now. How you and I grew up having, like, there was like debate teams in junior high school and high school. Good luck. Like, it was fun to debate. It's not cool now on TikTok and all that stuff. And so that whole idea of debating is like foreign to the younger people coming up. So that's a whole skill set that's not even there anymore. So here comes, it adds on to, we don't tolerate it all. It's either my way or the highway. That's it. It's either left or right, blue or red. It doesn't matter. It has to be one or the other. And there's no room for anything in between anymore. And it sucks. And it's a bad recipe. And we're seeing it, and we're going to continue to see it because it's only going in one way, in my opinion.
And you think that bleeds over into people's personal lives when they try to talk about the issues
100%.
with a partner, with friends, with people at work? You think that what you see out there in the media can bleed into personal life?
100%. And the word partner's thrown out too much now because everyone wants a partner. But the word partner isn't tied to money. It isn't tied to an opinion on an issue. You could be a true partner with somebody and think totally different. That's fine. That doesn't affect the partnership, and it shouldn't. When it does, then it's not a true partner. But what do I know, Mike?
Not much,
No.
from what I hear.
Yeah,
Not much.
that's the survey's out.
Not much from what I hear.
Not
That's
much.
why I'm asking you all these questions.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, it sucks to see that a lot of, and it's not even the youth's fault. I can't blame them. Like people are like, oh, the youth don't know. Of course they don't know, but they don't know what they don't know. So if it was never taught to them or shown, you can't blame them because they've never seen it before.
True.
So if they're getting their news from this source, and this source is literally about just entertainment and likes and views and marketing and money, of course that's what they're going to know. I can't even hate on them. It's a bad recipe all around. It's bad.
Yeah. I just going back to your partnership take. I agree 100%. I think partnership is kind of germane to where you live. I would say a partner in the Midwest is a little bit different than a partner in Boca, or
1,000%. The
a partner in
Northeast
like,
sucks for partnership. Sucks.
or yeah, I even think a gander at the West Coast. So maybe a partner in Texas is a little bit different than a partner in, let's just say, Greenwich. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I think partnership is. I guess it's all interpreted differently.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people. I think a lot of people can't elevate themselves to that level when they actually realize what a partnership is.
Mhm.
They get like freaked out, like, oh my God, he wants me to be an equal, or she wants me to be an equal, or instead of I feel like there's always that give and take. Like one needs to not be the more dominant one in the relationship. One's more dominant, one's more docile. It's like, when you actually bring your partner up to your level, one person's going to freak out because, like, wait a second, like, why isn't she making a decision? Why is he making a decision? Oh, we're partners. We make decisions together. We do this, we do that. And I think a lot of people, they freak out because they realize, wow, like this is like, he's not paying for me, or he's not doing this for me, or I have to work now. Like, what the hell? Like, I think people get freaked out when you actually put a partnership into a contextual scenario or a contextual situation, because it's like, oh my God, like now I have to do this. See, I think people don't realize that with a partnership come responsibilities.
Of course.
Not like, oh, it's okay, Greg will do it. You're right. And with partnership comes accountability. Even in our partnership, we're both held accountable to each other.
Another thing people don't want this day and age, they don't want to be held accountable because they feel like they're too good for it. They don't have to do it. They're better than that. And none of that comes into play in a true partnership. None of it. And there's going to be times where one makes more money than the other one makes more money that doesn't matter, because it's like, I look at it as it's water in a glass. It'll just fill the empty gaps. That's all it is. That's all it is. And that stuff shouldn't matter. But that's, now you get into the shit you see on social media and like, oh, I'm a boss babe. Like, no one's telling me what to do. They're not telling you what to do. But a true partner is just that. You can be a boss babe and the best partner if you can do it. If you're tapped into that, it's just a lot of people want everything given to them, but they don't want to give anything back. That's selfishness. Now we're getting into that. But you can't be any sort of selfish in a real partnership. You can't.
Right.
There's no room for it.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that the last 4 years it's been expounded upon people being selfish. I also think too, over the last 4 years since the pandemic, and I'll go that far back, the pandemic, I find that the rhetoric that people use, right, there's a causation effect to where people don't take accountability for things. Even what happened with Trump, the Secret Service is blaming the local police is blaming the Secret Service. It's no one takes accountability for things. It's just deflect. So when you use rhetoric in a negative way, you deflect. If I call Greg so many names that a pack of dudes decide to jump him, I'll be like, well, I didn't tell those guys to jump him. But
Yeah.
my rhetoric incited or incentivized someone to take action.
Yeah.
In a negative way.
Yeah.
So I think that kind of bleeds in with the morals. And I think the rhetoric that we've seen has gone down to the degradation of morals and values. And just like, I never thought I'd never see an assassination attempt in my lifetime. No. That's something you read about that happened 40, 50 years ago. It's technology that we have. It's hard for me to fathom the fact that, you couldn't pick out any type of threat, even like those thermal things, 130 yards away from where that's a football field, Greg. Not even a football field in the third of a football field, then some.
I mean, listen, technology is only as good as the person using the tool.
Right.
You're talking about a thermal camera.
Something that you can pick up heat and sensors and stuff like that.
It's easier at night, but technically. But I mean, you don't have a drone up. You don't. It's just it's. Listen, Secret Service can blame local. Local can blame Secret Service. You guys have to work together, and usually Secret Service defers to local when it's outside of a certain perimeter. That might have been outside the perimeter. I don't know what the perimeter diameters are, but if it is, it's on the local. But it doesn't matter who it's on. You both fucked up to a certain degree, and just you forget blaming. Learn from it and make it better. Then that's when things get better. Is when things get broken or things happen. Someone gets hurt. Then there's a new safety protocol. Well, this is a good time to see how the fuck this happened so it doesn't happen again.
Yeah. But it also goes down to, I think we talk about what's wrong with society. It's like you're not looking for the best candidate. You're looking to check a box.
Well, that was clear in a lot of the agents surrounding him in the car. There were some good ones, and then there were others that in that position, you cannot freeze under pressure. You cannot hesitate for 2 seconds, 1 second. Some had their weapons drawn, some didn't. Some had to be told. It's just, it was clear as day that some were not ready for that moment, and that is your one job.
Yeah. And it goes back to before the pandemic, it was cool to take accountability. In fact, there are books written about the power of positive accountability. Nobody takes accountability anymore. It was, I'll say back in the day, even like some of the athletes now, like real leaders took it on themselves. It was my fault. I got to do better. It's my fault. I don't hear anybody in any position of power that's out there say, hey, you know what? My rhetoric could have led to this.
And one of the reasons they don't do that, it goes back to your tolerate and your low blow. It all goes back to that because let's just say, I don't know, the head of Secret Service stepped up and like, you know what? It's on me. Because they know, number one, they're going to get sacrificed in the media, which means they're going to be forced to get fired if they're not fired already. They will be forced to get fired because there's going to be so much pressure put on by the outside. So that's one of the reasons. And then they're going to attack their credibility. They're going to look into their past. There's nothing wrong with doing that, but there's a way to go about that. I think if someone stepped up and was like, you know what? We made a mistake and we see a chink in the armor. It will be fixed going here forward. I got this. I respect that. They take it on the chin, but this day and age, they're going to be crucified. And that's why no one will step up and wave the flag for that.
Yeah. Or even just thinking about be reflective of your own actions. Right. And I think people that don't have emotional intelligence don't really take stock. It's like, what did I do to contribute to this? What did I do? I would
That's accountability, Mike, and no one wants to do that.
I would like to have seen our president, for all of my Jewish friends that are listening out there, could you imagine? I don't know how any Jewish person doesn't get offended when they use the term Hitler so loosely.
Well, it's watered down now. So it's like you said earlier, it's watered down now. So it doesn't have that sting or that bite that it did back in the day where you can't say that. That's a no-no. And the younger generation, they're also watered down to it. So it doesn't hit as hard. You combine everything. So it doesn't have that that weight anymore that it used to, and now it's normal to just say a comment like that. But I agree
It's
with you. That's so disrespectful, but
it's
I don't see any
crazy.
of them standing up
And
for
I've
it.
never seen any signs of President Trump like trying to wipe out a whole like race of people and putting people in camps. Like, I mean, and I think with the rhetoric, I think people need to well, I know people need to realize they need to think before they speak, right? And I think that comes from, and I think you saw this. Now, whether you believe it or not, I think God spoke to people on Saturday because it is a miracle that Trump is still alive. It really is. I'm not saying Trump's going to win the election. I'm not saying this. I'm not saying that. But you take God out of the equation. You don't say the Pledge of Allegiance anymore. You don't keep American flags up. God is a pillar of our country. And when you take that out, you're seeing the wrath of inflation. You're seeing lawlessness and crime and all the rules being just disregarded with the border. There's been chaos the last 4 years. And I hope we've had enough of this and we can get back to some civility. But Greg, my question to you is, where do you think we went wrong? Why do you think, and I'll say it because there is a parallel between the pandemic and Biden's presidency to where we are now, where rhetoric, lawlessness, and the disregard of people's feelings have gone totally by the wayside. Where did we go wrong?
I think there's not one answer to this, but it starts with local positions, people voting in local, like super hyper local. And you get some of these people in that will change certain values that have been in a state or a city or a local area for a while. And then, because let's be honest, most people do not care about local elections. People don't even know who their local representatives are. That's normal. And most people don't know. So you get a bunch of them creeping in over time. This is years and years and decades. Well, where do they go? They're going to branch up now. They're going to get to the state level. And then they're in there. Once they're in, it's hard to get them out. And once they're in there, they're going to keep feeding their type of people in the local and bringing them up and supporting them. So when the state now you're in state and you're local. Where does state go? Now the state gets federal, House or Senate or whatever. And now you're infiltrated all the levels, starting from local. Takes a long time. And now you have people that undermine history or undermine values or things like that. And then now they can, on the local level, now you're talking municipalities, school, education, everything now. And then you take that from each city and now you do it to the state. Now you take it to the state and now you do it to the federal. Now you have a bunch of states like-minded, and then here we are with certain things. So I think one of the reasons we're at where we're at is because of people do not take the time to educate themselves on their local leaders and what their ambitions and trajectory is or are, because they might have fucking bad visions. And if you elect them in or you don't vote in local, they're going to get voted in because no one else is going to show up except their friends. Now they're in. And then they're off and running. So that's a big problem, how we got here. Now you have all that going. Now you have media, and we all know media is controlled by certain people and money and all that. And money and power and favors and politics are all dating. They're all together. So now you have media, social media, all that stuff leaning towards that way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's educating the youth, and it's out there on TV. So the kids see it on their phones. Then once in a while they're on TV, they see it there. Now that's normal.
Yes.
And like you and me and certain people, we're weird, we're old, we're dinosaurs because I've never heard of that. What's 9/11? Like all this shit. So now you have a whole generation that think a certain way and are only being shown a certain thing which started from the local level fucking decades ago. It's a slow, long play, but it is here now. And now we are reaping what we sowed. Now we're in it, and it sucks because the monster's so big now, it almost can't be stopped. That's why there's a lot of good people that would be great for politics. They don't want to get in the arena, and I don't blame them. They have families, they have this, because you get torn apart in a second. So and why do it? Like, why do it? It's it's not worth it. To some people it is, to other people it isn't. So that's one answer, in my opinion, how we got here, but it happened decades ago, slowly. And the weakening of, making masculinity a negative and weakening the nuclear family, which helps all of that agenda. And then we're so focused on all these ticky tack things that we're missing out on the bigger picture. And I don't care what anybody says. Our enemies watch us every day. People hate America. The world mostly hates America. They need us, but I didn't say that. I said they hate us. And there are countries lining up together, like it was the old Axis versus,
Evil.
it's the same thing in like World War II. There was
Allied
two
powers, yeah.
different powers, and it's like that's happening again in the background. Nobody wants to talk about it. And then all this information coming out, like, all the Iraq, Afghanistan, all these dudes
Sure.
died and sacrificed things, and they're learning it was all for basically bullshit and for political people's businesses and money. That's disheartening, and it's bad. It's all bad. That's why a lot of these guys are not happy with the government, not happy. They're ashamed to even be associated with some of the military that they were in and they love. It's crazy. I don't blame them. I do not blame them. I'd be
Right.
pissed too if I saw my friends get blown up and I sacrificed marriages or life or whatever limb just to find out I'm only over there because some politician's stock holding in an oil company was down. So let's send our troops over to get that back. Like, that's horrible, man. But that's where we're at. And then it just weakens people. People are soft. Guys are soft now. We say it all the time. I'm all up for having that debate. There's not real men anymore, and that's not good for society either.
Yeah.
It's a bad trickle down effect, man. It snowballs bad.
And again, that real men persona, like it's people that you mentioned, with demasculinization. That's a big word after 4 cups of coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Where you almost like it's a cool to break men down. Like you said this in prior podcasts, what the role of a man is, right? Especially in a family, provider, protector.
Yeah.
Right. So when you break that person down, it's like I feel like people get off on bringing people down.
Of
Like,
course.
how can
That's human
we,
nature. That's happened forever.
you
Always.
know, like we look at men throughout the ages, right?
Mm-hmm.
We looked at like, let's just say like John Wayne, and we look at guys that were like Clint Eastwood, or
Mm-hmm.
guys that were like, I'm just using those guys for example. They
Mm-hmm.
were like complete, badasses, and
Yeah.
obviously that has evolved over time with Arnold and The Rock, and the bigger, like larger than life personas of like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what men are supposed to look like. I think we have a social media how there's a lot of pressure on women to look good, but I think that nowadays it's equal, if not more, for men. And I think social media has made a lot more men insecure because there's this barometer of social acceptance that very few can hit, like, and then it warps your mind for guys too. I think when a guy looks at a girl, obviously there's a different type of attraction. Maybe it's the same. I'm not a woman, I don't identify as one, so I can't really speak on that. But like, I look at a girl and I'm physically attracted to her, and then it gets to like, let me get to know her, all right? And then as you evolve as a person, if she's a total dud, no matter how hot she is, you just don't have it. Or it's only going to go one place if that's something that you want to pursue. It's not like he or she is a keeper. And I think social media, what's out there in today's society, really damages the lens at which people look at things, and therefore what you used to value, you don't value anymore because we kind of adapt to the norms of society.
Totally.
That was a very long-winded
Yeah, but adapting to the
360
norms of
degrees.
society is dangerous now. And
I
that's
agree.
why we're in all the bad areas we're in, from border to drugs and all that shit to, you know, kids killing themselves with all the pressure. And I get it. And then it's too much. It's too much. They can't like put the phone down. They can't relax. It's all from what you just said.
Yeah, and on my business
The
page,
norms of society.
yeah,
Who defines
FOMO is
that?
real.
Who defines the norms of society? And if you actually look back, took a step back, the norms of society are fucking horrible. The norms of the Northeast suck. Suck.
The norms of Florida are great. Between, well, I guess I can say this. Between the hours of 4 and 7, happy
Mhm.
hour every day here in Delray Beach.
Mhm.
Not that I indulge, but I might indulge later. But it's nice to know that that is a norm.
It's an option. It's an option.
So if I, because I'm in Biden's economy, save all my pennies and I have $20 in my protein jar that I use to accumulate change, I can have 2 martinis and leave a $3 tip.
There you go.
Just saying.
Yep.
Not that I would, if I did.
It's an interesting world, and I don't like it at all. I wish I was born in a different era, actually. So
I guess we got to figure out, Greg, how do we? It starts with us, right? It starts with 2 people and spread. Is there hope? Is there a possibility?
I've answered this slightly before. I am the wrong person to ask that. I don't think there is, because the mindset of society and the norm mindset is not good for this. And I think the pendulum has swung so far. I don't even think it's going to snap back. If you're asking me, is there hope? I hope there's hope. But do I think there's hope? Not really. It would take a catastrophic event to possibly have a shift in things, and that event is not good. It's not good. And I'm not just talking like civil war. So everyone's like, oh, no, that's not what I mean. Some sort of catastrophic event where things are going to happen on the extreme where somewhat people come together. But even then, it's going to be hard because people aren't used to that. And people are so divided. It goes back to the tolerate and all that shit we spoke about. Nothing's impossible, but this is pretty close. I don't have hope. Do you?
I do, and I'm gonna tell you why. I
Yeah,
think
how?
over the last 4 years, you've seen almost like a revolution in people finding religion, spirituality, Christianity. I think you've seen that. Now, I don't want to say. I know we differ on this, but you know what?
Half those people are fucking fake, man. Yo, stay prayed up. Come on, man.
Great, but it's not my place to say. Maybe it's legit. It's not my place. All I can do is stay in my lane and do the best that I can do. And I can tell you from my experience, like, I fall down a lot, like we all do. We're all human.
Mhm.
I think when you come out and say you're Christian, you're under a bigger microscope. Yes, I do sin every day. Yes, I do make mistakes. Yes, I do still do certain things I shouldn't be doing. But people have to realize that evolution is a process, right? You can't really chastise someone for trying. People try because they're not doing it themselves, and they always look at a way to, I say, misery loves company.
Mhm.
So I feel like if you get, and you've seen this I've seen more things on my social media feed with athletes that praise God, this praise God, and I think if you put that out there, you can slowly start to permeate God back into our schools, God back into our fiber. I mean, look, if we go digital currency, you think they're going to keep
Ugh.
God in there? You know they
No.
want to do that.
No.
And I think that we can get back to the values that this country once stood for. And, we look at 9/11. I think the last time I said it, because the last time this country was unified was 9/11. Was the last time it didn't matter what you were. you were an American that day, and
Yeah, but
everyone was
that
on
now
board.
has so much time has passed now. Most
Yeah,
people now, the majority, don't even know what that is and didn't physically experience it. So it's out of sight, out of mind.
right,
So yes, you're right, but that's now past.
right. No, I
Doesn't
agree.
matter.
I agree. And that was the last time our country was unified. Now it might take a long time. We may not even be around for the next Great American prosperity. We might not be around, but I do believe that the social circles that you keep yourself in are going to really dictate how you look at the world.
Okay, so I'm gonna argue you, not
Yeah,
argue, debate you on this. So you say you have hope because
I
you've
do.
seen an increase in people's faith,
I have.
even though I'll speculate, I'll give you half are real and half are fake. That half that's real is enough to change things.
But how do you define fake? What is fake?
You know who I'm talking about, and people like
I'm
that
just
that are just
saying,
doing it for eyeballs and money.
right?
And
I'm
it's
just
the
being
cool. Once
rhetorical.
again, it's the cool.
Yeah,
It's the flavor of the week right now.
of
It's the
course.
same thing with the keywords you see on Instagram with like, oh, narcissist and this and that. Now it's like somewhat cool to be faithful until that ship sailed and there's going to be something else.
Well, look, God and church has always been a business, so people are going to use it to their advantage. The fact is that people are
True,
going
but
to
that's not real. Then that's not what
yes.
you're talking about. If you're using it for a business or whatever, that's not going to help change things.
Well, if people that we watch on social media use that for more likes, and that could be a business tool or to get more visibility to them, if that's the direction they want to go down, so be it. At the end of the
I'm not
day,
hating on that. I'm
yeah,
saying, but their core is still not. It's fake. That's not really them. So that's not going to help change the country.
but we don't know what their core is, though, right? Because people can look at me as I'm a fake, but I struggle with things just like you do, just like everyone else does. So everyone's got struggles. Does that make me a fake because I read the Bible every day, but I still do things I shouldn't be doing? The stuff I struggle with. Which I look, I agree with you, and I'm not saying anything disrespectfully. I'm just saying like we don't know what someone's core is because we don't walk in their shoes. So for me to say he's a fake, I don't know that.
So you have hope in their hope, or
I
you
do.
have faith in their. You're taking them at their word that they're trying.
Well, and I think we go back to the way I give my trust at 100 and then it slowly
Hmm.
graduates away. That's just me. And
Hmm.
you have, and like the way you look at things is totally fine, but we're on the same page. We may
Yeah,
be on, we're on the same ship, we're on different decks.
yeah.
That's my new thing.
Hmm.
We're all, you know what I mean? But I think the more awareness that's out there,
I'm
I think people,
Jack locked up below the water.
please. I'm the guy serving water to everybody. I'm the guy in the Titanic that's like waiting tables.
You know the rats that were running uphill? That's me.
But I mean, I do, I do believe that. I think just why watching the RNC last night and the way they prayed and the way they did the national. Yeah, I think more people. I mean, if you look at it, if if by chance Trump, if by chance Trump wins, I don't think he's going to.
See, I look at that because I watched the same thing you
I know.
saw. I look at that as a show, a spectacle, and a division because people are going to use that to divide even more now and use it as look at this, it's fake and it's such a show, which it is. And I'm not going to get into some of the people that they had on. You were there for the group text. I'm sorry. Why are you even on television? Why am I even listening to you? Why are you talking? No offense.
yeah,
Why are you talking? Take offense. I don't care. What are you doing? That's just a fake thing to get another voting demographic. There's no substance, not real. You think she's real? And what she's come on, man. Yo, I'm not buying it. Maybe I'm so cynical, but I'm sorry. I'm just not buying it.
right. And you got to
And
realize
that's the best you could do to get on fucking stage. Her?
yeah, I don't know where they.
Really?
I don't know how they did
It's
it.
a big country, right? That's who you had speak. Thank God it was day one and most people were not paying attention. Thank God.
Well, thank God it wasn't me either. If I was up there, forget it.
I just and EDAs, it's offensive. every
Are
day,
you
every day, every
are
day
you everyday Americans?
American. She, That's your everyday American? That's who you got up to talk up on stage? She's an everyday American? Now you're getting me upset, Mike. I'm going to stop now.
I didn't
Now
say anything.
I'm getting angry.
I didn't say anything. I'm sitting here listening.
Getting
I'm showing tolerance and patience.
Yes, you are. There is hope. There's hope yet, Mike. There's hope.
Hi.
Oh,
No,
God.
Look, I mean, I think just the fact that we can have this dialogue is great. And hopefully it'll inspire more people to have this dialogue. Right? That's what we're trying to do, is be a conversation starter. And the more people that have this dialogue, I mean, again, we can speculate on people, we can judge people, but some judgments might be right, some judgments might not be right. But at the end of the day, we don't have a right. I don't have a right
I'm
to
not
judge anybody.
judging her. I'm not
Right.
judging her.
Right.
But that's the best you can do. I'm going off facts. No judging.
Hey, I like the girl from Las Vegas that voted for Joe Biden. They booed her because I'm voting for Donald Trump. Because my son has 3 jobs living in Las Vegas, and we both know our friend lived in Las Vegas. And you need 3 jobs to live in Las Vegas.
You
Las
do,
Vegas
because
is
it's
pretty affordable.
ghost town now, man. It's dead
Crazy.
there. Dead.
It's crazy.
One of the most fun places, dead. It'll never be the same. Ever.
Yeah, but this is healthy dialogue, because this isn't scripted.
No.
And we hope like other people can have this. And I think the more we realize both sides, like you saw my side and we heard your side, I think the more we can have better quality conversations. And then the rhetoric that you use slowly changes, because you're listening to someone saying, hey, listen, Greg, like, I don't know what lens it's not my job to say what you believe is right or wrong, because I don't look at the way you look at things. So I have no right to judge. Same with me, right?
Mhm.
But that's how we have the sharing of ideas,
Yeah.
the differentiation. This is what's called a democracy. Now, like, oh God, Greg, you're a threat to my democracy.
We have friends, polar opposite views on things, and we couldn't be tighter or cooler. That's no problem. That's how it should be. There's no problem with that. It is all good.
Would this be my favorite Democrat who lives in northern Florida?
Yes.
Who's listening right now?
Probably. I'm just saying, it's all
I hope
good.
she knows how to swim, because she might be thrown overboard next time if she or he, whatever she is, they, them, whatever she wants to use, he, she, I don't know, whatever that person wants to describe themselves as. Exactly. I just hope that person knows how to swim, because there might be an eject button. That person might go flying off the boat.
As long as I don't jump in and break my tibia again. I'm still hurting from that.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, I think we can agree on one thing, that Biden beat Medicare. Oh, wait, that's terrible. Enough political rhetoric. Greg, any final thoughts before we wrap this up? This is actually really, really good. This is a good conversation.
Hope. I'm wrapping it up. I don't have
Greg
hope.
Is hopeless. Greg is hopeless, and I have hope.
Yes, Mike has hope. Hey, listen, I commend you for having hope. I just don't see enough good people to have that faith that you have. I just don't. I listen, it's not like I want to say that. I'm just being completely honest. I don't think things will change. And I'm not asking for like crazy change, and I'm not saying Trump or whoever. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking morals and values change. That's my focus. I don't see enough people to have hope for that. Regardless of politics, I'm talking about hope for people. Nope.
I think at the end of the day, everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to be listened to. Everybody wants to feel validated. And if I can show patience and restraint and let someone, no matter how much I disagree with them, then if it starts with me, then hopefully that person will pay it forward. Now, odds are they probably won't. But at least I can do my part. And I think that if we become more tolerable and more patient, and we have, again, in a relationship, for me, if a girl doesn't have faith, it's never going to work. It might go one place, but as far as long term, never going to work. Now, am I saying that girl can't find faith? I'm sure she could. If she doesn't have it, maybe I would inspire her. But again, the way I'm going to end this for me is God's the common denominator for everything in our life, at least in my life, good, bad, or indifferent. I know I'm a sinner. I know I'm forgiven. I keep working on it because I've accepted certain things in my life that I try to espouse. Now, I'm not going to come out here and espouse my beliefs or my religion or all that stuff because I
Mhm.
feel like a hypocrite at times because like I'm not like some of these biblical scholars. And I never will be. I can only do the best I can. And I think if you and I can have that same attitude and we do the best that we can
Mhm.
every day to be a better person, maybe, just maybe, that'll inspire the next person and the next person and so on. And that's how I meant it.
I'll say this one thing. So I like that. For me, two people can be a partnership and a complete unit and think differently. It's actually good because you see things through not only your lens, you see it through somebody else's, but it's still not personal. And you don't judge that person. They don't judge you. It's totally okay. You like chocolate ice cream. I like vanilla. That it's all good. We like ice cream at the end of the day. We're Americans and we want our certain things. How we go about it might be different, but we like ice cream. We're still good people. And I agree. I know it's okay not to agree on things as long as you treat the other person with respect and be open and honest. It is all good. That we've lost as a country. That we've lost as people in relationships, friendships, family, romantic relationships, whatever you want to call it. That's rare nowadays, and that's sad because I'd like to have hope for that. More people be like that because people are going back to not tolerate and they divide. And instead of looking inward, like we are great partners. Oh, well, they don't like vanilla ice cream. That's it. I can't talk to them. Like, really? Really? You're just going to shut it off for that? That's crazy to me. You can have it. You can have both ways. You can be totally opposite. You and I don't think the same on things, not everything. That doesn't change anything. Why can't more people be like that? I don't know. I don't know. You have faith. I don't. Okay. We're still going to continue on our day. We disagree with that. Okay. I don't look at you any different. You don't look at me any different. It's still fine. It's the same in a relationship or partnership or whatever. And it can be the same in the world. But for some reason, people just don't want that.
Divide and conquer. You want to change something, you got to
Of
divide
course.
people, divide and
That I
conquer.
agree with. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
hopefully things change in November and we have someone up there that can put God back into because we haven't seen God in our country in a very long time. And I'm not going
They're
to mention
trying. They're
names.
trying to bring it back. And I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it'll happen because I think the example I sent from the bottom up, there's too many people that don't want that and they're going to stifle that. And certain states are trying. And I'm not for or against it right now. I'm still thinking about it. But my point, what I'm talking about is I don't think they'll let that happen.
Well,
Right now, we're in the removal process, like they used to do in ancient times. When a new emperor took over, they would, knock down all the statues of the old. That's what we're in right now. I don't agree with that at all. History is history. Right, wrong, bad, good. It's still history. It happened. You can't deny it. You know what I'm saying? You
they're
can't.
trying to rewrite it though.
There were dinosaurs, then they got extinct. You can't say there were no dinosaurs. You can't
Right.
erase that. It's a fact. I just like Teddy Roosevelt statue in front of the museum I used to walk by every night on Central Park going to the gym. That's not there anymore because it's offensive because there was an Indian below him because he was on a horse. Like, sorry, man, that shouldn't happen. That statue should be there. That's what I'm talking about. But I think that we're in the erase phase and they're not going to let that happen. And I don't think they want God back in the country because what you just said, that's unifying and that would be a good thing. And people don't want that. They want that control, man.
Well, they're trying to make it that, an atheist society in that the government is really
Yes, I
what
agree
you
with you that
can,
government,
you
all roads
know,
lead to pure government.
your government and not,
People have to
you
understand
know,
the government doesn't give two flying fucks about you or me or anybody else. They don't fucking care about you.
And we have to keep in mind too that, like, at some point, if this keeps going, our rights are slowly going to start to dissolve. And guess what? Podcasts like ours will cease to exist because we'll have lost that freedom of speech. And I think over time, if we're not aware of this, and then I'm going to go off my high horse, states' rights are going to go away, and then we're going to be one uniformed. We'll be united at some point when every state has the same, and we're all under the thumb of the government.
I agree. Here's a simple example, then I'm done. What does the government do? It gives out free handouts, right?
Right.
Oh, that's great. It's for free. Meanwhile, it's literally just enslaving you and making you dependent on them. What does a drug dealer do? A lot of people don't know this. A drug dealer does is he'll give a taste of something. Like you sell weed. Okay, I sell weed. Here's a bag of Coke. It's on me. Try it. You let me know. Knowing that person's going to like it and come back now for Coke. And it's just they give them a taste. It's free. And then all of a sudden, now you're hooked and you have to go to them and, their hand is out. Give me money. Here's your drug. And it's the same thing. The government gives free stuff out and you're thinking, wow, they really care about me. Look at me. They're giving me free stuff. This is great. No one sees behind that.
Right.
They have a reason they're doing. What the fuck in this world is free? Nothing. You think they're just going to give you free shit without some sort of agenda or something behind it? Please stop. Please wake up. They don't care about you. That should make us come together and figure this out. But it won't, because people want free shit. They want their Jordans and they want whatever. So, yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got your sweatshirt.
Love him.
I love him, but, I won't buy that shit.
Listen, Republicans buy sweatshirts too. Just saying.
All right, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah. I think I've said enough. That should get me in a lot of trouble at some point.
Welcome to the club, Mike.
But these conversations are good. They're good starters, and I hope more people can take this as a way to have them with their friends and have them with family members.
It's just an example. You guys can still be cool and not think the same and openly talk about things without attacking the person personally. Like, oh, you're a fucking idiot. No. Why do you think that? Can you give me some examples? And just talk.
And rhetoric is dangerous. And I think no matter whether it's
rhetoric mixed with stupidity and laziness is the worst thing possible. And that's what we have now.
Exactly.
People are dumb and then they're lazy not to do their homework. So they're just going to take the rhetoric and run. That's not good. Nothing good comes out of that.
No. And I think people need to be aware more than ever. Like, listen, with your partner, your girlfriend, boyfriend, best friend, family members, teammates, the rhetoric you use, even just with like bullying, like you saw this kid that shot President Trump was bullied. The rhetoric that you use can have repercussions. It may not happen now, but rhetoric, and I'm gonna end it like this: rhetoric has repercussions. And Fox News, you can use that. Just saying.
All right. This was a good discussion.
Kayleigh McEnany can use that. I love Kayleigh. Very good discussion there, Greggy T.
Yeah.
Well, Greggy T from the free state of Florida and Governor former DeSanctimonious Ron DeSantis, who I have Jesus and I have Ron DeSantis in my room and I have Trump sitting at the top of the throne. No, only kidding. I'm not that bad. Jesus, now my apartment's going to come under attack now. No, only kidding. But from the free state of Florida, where every day is happy hour, Greggy T. Good conversation starters. May God bless all of you and God bless America. And may God watch over us all in these next coming months.
Yeah, be safe and just be ready. Thanks, everybody.